You ever get that feeling deep inside your skin, like something's crawling beneath it? Not pain, not fear, just a pressure, a strange kind of tension that whispers, something's coming. You try to ignore it, shake it off, distract yourself with noise, with people, with comfort. But it doesn't stop. It builds. Day by day, thought by thought. Like your body knows something your mind refuses to admit. People call it anxiety, restlessness, frustration, but it's not that. It's transformation. Something inside you is trying to escape the shell you've been hiding in. You've been suppressing it for too long, your potential, your truth, your power. And now, your body can't contain it anymore. That's why you feel heavy when you wake up, why your chest tightens for no reason, why silence feels so loud, because something within you is getting ready to break free. You know that pressure you feel sometimes? That strange, invisible weight pressing against your chest, crawling beneath your skin, like something's trying to escape, but you don't know what it is. You think it's stress, maybe overthinking, maybe just another bad day, but deep down, you know it's more than that. It's not random, it's not chaos, it's a message. Pressure is never the enemy, it's a sign, a signal that something inside you is getting too big to stay silent. That something is transforming, reshaping, demanding to be born. You can feel it, can't you? The tension in your thoughts, the restlessness in your bones, the fire in your gut that refuses to die down. That's not fear. That's transformation, trying to break through. See, people run from pressure like it's punishment. They panic. They distract themselves. They try to silence it with comfort, with noise, with lies. But pressure isn't there to destroy you. It's there to expose you, to push out everything fake, everything weak, everything borrowed that's been covering who you really are. It's like a storm in your veins, uncomfortable, unpredictable, but necessary. Because nothing new comes without pressure. Diamonds, purpose, power, they all come from the same furnace. It hurts. It burns. But that's the only way something real is born. You've been feeling it for a while, haven't you? That uneasiness that no amount of rest can fix. That feeling like you're standing on the edge of something, but you don't know what. You're not crazy. You're evolving. The version of you that used to fit in, used to settle, used to pretend it's suffocating now. It can't breathe in the same old routine. That's why you feel off. That's why everything around you feels too tight, too small, because your spirit's expanding while your world tries to stay the same. And when that happens, the body starts to revolt. It sends signals, shakes your peace, forces you to move. That's the pressure. It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. The funny thing is, most people don't realize what's happening. They call it anxiety. They call it burnout. They call it bad luck. But what if it's not falling apart? What if it's you being rebuilt from the inside out? The old energy breaking down so the new one can rise. The shell cracking open so the light can escape. Pressure is just the sound of your limits being stretched. You can't step into something greater while clinging to what's safe. So life squeezes you. It tightens the grip until you finally stop resisting and start becoming. There's a reason it feels personal, because it is. Transformation doesn't come as a gentle invitation. It comes as a breakdown, as a silence, as a fire that won't go out. It visits you when you're least ready and whispers, "It's time." That's the truth about pressure. It never asks for permission. It arrives when the universe knows you're capable of handling more than you think. When you've carried enough pain to turn it into purpose. When the small life you settled for can no longer contain the power you've grown into. And so, It builds inside you until it can't be ignored anymore. But here's what most people miss. Pressure is a privilege. Not everyone gets chosen to carry it. It's proof that something is being formed within you. Proof that life hasn't given up on you. Because the day you stop feeling that pull, that tension, that inner resistance, that's the day you've stopped growing. Pressure means potential. It means you're still alive enough to become dangerous again, unpredictable again, alive again. That's why it won't leave you alone. It wants to pull the greatness out of you, even if it has to break a few walls to do it. So don't fear the weight. Let it sit on your shoulders. Let it shake you, stretch you, challenge you. Because that pressure you feel, it's not punishment. It's proof. Proof that the old you is crumbling and the new you is rising. You don't need to escape it. You just need to endure it long enough for it to reveal what it's been hiding. Because pressure doesn't destroy what's real. It only breaks what was never meant to last. And somewhere inside that chaos, that noise, that pulse, you'll find the beginning of something you've never seen before. The body never lies. It's the one thing that tells the truth when your mouth refuses to. You can pretend to be fine. You can smile through the pain. You can convince everyone you're okay, but your body knows better. It remembers every sleepless night, every heartbreak, every buried emotion you thought you got rid of. You think you've moved on, but your body keeps the score. It shows you through tension, through fatigue, through that ache in your chest you can't explain. The body is the last mask to fall, and when it does, it reveals what the soul has been trying to say all along. You see, the soul whispers, but the body screams. It warns you when something's off, when you've ignored too much for too long. That headache, that tightness, that restless energy, it's not random. It's your soul's frustration breaking through flesh. Because when you silence your truth, your body starts talking louder. It's not punishing you. It's protecting you. It's saying, something's wrong, pay attention. And the longer you resist, the louder it gets. You think it's sickness, but sometimes it's just the weight of pretending crushing your spirit. People spend their lives trying to medicate what's meant to be understood. They chase cures, routines, distractions, trying to quiet what's meant to be heard. But the body doesn't want silence, it wants acknowledgement. It's not against you, it's with you. Every pain, every twitch, every heartbeat out of rhythm. It's your inner truth trying to break the surface. The body and soul are partners in crime, and when one suffers, the other bleeds. You can't separate them, no matter how hard you try. You can fake words, fake smiles, fake confidence, but the body exposes what you hide. Think about it. Why do you feel heavy when you're sad? Why do your hands shake when you're afraid? Why does your stomach twist when you lie to yourself? Because emotion isn't just mental, it's physical. The soul translates its feelings through the body. Every secret you keep, every wound you deny, becomes energy that has to go somewhere. It doesn't disappear. It hides in your posture, your heartbeat, your breath. The body becomes a map of everything you've endured, every story you didn't tell. You can cover it with perfume and smiles, but truth has a scent of its own, and it always seeps through. The body doesn't betray, it warns. It feels before the mind accepts. It knows when someone isn't right for you before your heart admits it. It knows when you're in the wrong place before your thoughts catch up. That discomfort you feel in certain rooms, that sudden fatigue around certain people, that's your body's way of saying, get out. But we ignore it because logic likes to argue with intuition. The mind wants to explain everything, but the body simply knows. It doesn't need proof. It senses energy, vibration, alignment. You can lie to your mind, but you can't lie to your nervous system. You've been at war with your own vessel for too long, forcing it to carry emotions it didn't ask for, silencing it when it tries to speak. You call it discipline, but it's really denial. You push through exhaustion, through pain, through those gut feelings that beg you to stop, and then one day, it snaps. You break down not because you're weak, but because the body finally says, enough. It's the rebellion of truth against suppression. Every tear, every tremor, every sudden outburst, it's your body releasing what your soul can no longer hold in silence. Funny, isn't it? How people trust everything outside of them, their phones, their followers, their bosses, but not their own bodies. The only home they'll ever truly live in, and they treat it like a stranger. The body is the temple, the battlefield, and the witness. It feels what your words refuse to speak. It carries what your spirit can't yet let go of. Every scar, every mark, every pulse, it's all a conversation between what's seen and what's hidden. You can cover it with strength, but the body still whispers the truth when no one's listening. And that's the thing, when something is meant to rise, the body becomes the first to react. You start shaking, sweating, pacing. That's not fear, that's your energy shifting, trying to adapt to a higher version of yourself. It's your shell cracking under the pressure of evolution. That's what transformation feels like, not peace, not calm, but chaos inside your skin. The body is the messenger of the soul's awakening. It doesn't ask if you're ready, it just begins. Because deep down, it knows the truth you've been avoiding all along. You can't hide from what's already growing inside you. You ever notice how people think they can bury the truth and walk away clean? They think if they don't talk about it, if they laugh loud enough, distract themselves long enough, it'll just vanish. But the thing about truth is, it doesn't die in silence. It festers. It grows teeth. It waits. You can hide it for a while, but not forever. Because what's been suppressed always finds its way out. The truth is, like smoke in a locked room, it always escapes through the cracks. The longer you keep it buried, the louder it screams to be released. You've been carrying it, haven't you? That thing you don't talk about. The secret, the regret, the disappointment you try to disguise as strength. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're really suffocating. The weight doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It lives inside your body, inside your breath, inside the way your heart races when someone gets too close to the truth. Suppressed emotions don't disappear, they transform into restlessness, into exhaustion, into that strange emptiness that no amount of success can fill. That's what happens when truth is held hostage. It starts leaking out through the cracks in your soul. You tell yourself it's not the right time, that you're fine, that you've moved on. But the truth doesn't care about timing. It doesn't respect schedules. It'll rise up at 3 a.m. when you're trying to sleep, whispering through your thoughts, haunting your silence. You'll feel it in your chest like a storm that won't pass. You can numb it with distractions, drown it in noise, but the truth always resurfaces, because it doesn't want to hurt you, it wants to free you. But freedom has a cost, and most people are too afraid to pay it. You see, every time you suppress something real, you give it power. You make it stronger. It becomes part of your identity without your permission. That pain you didn't process becomes the filter through which you see the world. Every conversation, every relationship, every opportunity, it all gets touched by what you refuse to release. You start reacting instead of living. You start protecting your wounds instead of healing them. And that's when life begins to feel heavier, slower, smaller. Because nothing grows in the dark, not even you. The truth is, suppression is an illusion of control. You think you're managing it, but really, it's managing you. Every time you swallow your emotions, your body remembers. It stores them like bombs, waiting for the right moment to explode. And when they do, you call it a breakdown. But it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough that refused to wait any longer. That's why people cry out of nowhere, why they snap without warning, why they feel lost even when everything looks fine on the outside. The soul eventually rebels against silence. There's a certain kind of madness in pretending, the kind that eats you slowly, one fake smile at a time. You start to lose track of who you really are beneath all the roles you play. The good one, the strong one, the unbothered one, but deep down there's a voice begging to be heard. The part of you that's tired of pretending, tired of hiding, tired of being fine. And when you ignore it long enough, it starts finding other ways out. Through your health, your temper, your fatigue. The truth doesn't knock politely, it breaks the door down when you've ignored it too long. Funny thing is, when the truth finally comes out, it doesn't destroy you like you thought it would. It liberates you. It strips you of the lies you thought you needed to survive. It hurts, yes, but only because you were holding on to something that was never meant to stay inside you. People fear release because they confuse it with weakness. But it's the opposite. Letting go takes strength. Speaking up takes courage. Being honest takes more power than pretending ever will. And the body, the mind, the soul, they all sigh in relief. When you finally stop holding it in, you can only contain pressure for so long before it demands to be released. It might come out as tears, as anger, as silence, as art, but it will come out. Because no matter how much you suppress, the truth always finds its way to the surface. It doesn't ask for your permission, and it doesn't care about your comfort. It just wants to be seen. It wants to breathe. It wants to live outside of you. Because when truth stays trapped inside, it poisons everything. But when it's released, it purifies everything it touches. That's the irony of it all. The thing you've been afraid to let out is the very thing that will finally set you free. You ever notice how everything feels darkest right before something shifts? Like the world's closing in, every light's gone out, and you're left sitting in the quiet wondering if this is it. That heavy silence, that ache in your chest, that weight that doesn't seem to move, it's not the end. It's the tension before transformation. People think darkness means defeat, but they forget that even the dawn has to wait its turn. The night doesn't fall to destroy you. It falls to prepare you. It's the pause before the rise, the breath before the breakthrough. You just don't see it yet because your eyes haven't adjusted to the dark. That's the problem with people. They panic in the dark. They think if they can't see the path, there isn't one. But the truth is, light doesn't teach you faith, darkness does. Anyone can walk when everything's clear. But it takes something deeper, something raw to keep walking when all you've got is instinct. That's where the real ones are born. Not in comfort, not in celebration, but in those long, quiet nights where you question everything and still choose to keep breathing. That's where your strength sharpens. That's where the version of you that can handle the light starts taking shape. You think the dark means you're lost, but maybe it means you're being hidden from what's not ready for you, or maybe what you're not ready for. Sometimes the delay isn't punishment, it's protection. because if you saw what was coming too soon, you might run. So you're kept in the dark, not because you're forgotten, but because you're being refined. There's a process in pain, a rhythm in silence. You just can't hear it when you're busy trying to escape it. You don't realize that every breakdown, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, it's all shaping you into someone who can carry what's next. People crave the light, but they forget what it costs. You can't handle the sunrise until you've survived the night. You can't appreciate peace until you've been through chaos. You can't see clearly until you've been blinded by doubt. The darkness isn't against you, it's training you. It's teaching you to feel instead of just see, to listen to what's inside instead of what's around, to rely on faith when sight fails you. It's the silence where strength is born, where vision sharpens, where purpose whispers in the language of pain. That's the place where destiny starts breathing. It's funny, isn't it? How we beg for miracles, then complain when life gives us the dark. As if miracles don't need pressure, as if light doesn't need contrast. You can't know what victory tastes like until you've choked on defeat. The darkness is just the echo before the shift, the moment life checks if you're serious about what you prayed for. You said you wanted strength, so it gave you struggle. You wanted clarity, so it took away the noise. You wanted growth, so it buried you. The night isn't there to punish you, it's there to prove you. The quiet parts of your story are the ones that hold the most power, because when everything's stripped away, no applause, no validation, no certainty, that's when you meet yourself. That's when you find out what you're really made of. People run from that silence, but that's where the real answers live. It's where you learn that light isn't something you chase, it's something you build, inside. In the middle of all that doubt, fear, and exhaustion, that's how you learn that the darkness doesn't end you. It reveals you. It peels away everything false until only what's real remains. And the beautiful part is, darkness always collapses under its own weight. It never lasts. It may feel endless, but it's not eternal. Every night eventually gives in to morning, no matter how long it lingers. The key is not to fight it, but to endure it. Because somewhere in that silence, something's shifting. The things that broke you are bending into alignment. The pain that haunted you is being turned into purpose. The light doesn't rush in it, waits for you to be ready to handle it. And when it finally comes, it won't be subtle. It'll hit you in ways you can't explain. You'll look back and realize the darkness wasn't your downfall, it was your proving ground. It didn't come to destroy you. It came to prepare you for the kind of light that doesn't fade. You ever notice how people panic when something ends? They cry, they curse. They cling to what's slipping away as if the world's falling apart. They call it loss. They call it failure. But what if it's not any of that? What if it's just alignment? See, endings aren't always punishment, they're direction. Life has a strange way of closing doors that lead nowhere, of burning bridges that were only taking you in circles. You think something's being taken from you, but maybe it's being cleared out of your way. Because sometimes the things you hold on to aren't keeping you safe, they're keeping you stuck. You think you're losing something valuable. But maybe what's really happening is that the universe is creating space for something that actually fits. You don't see it yet, so you call it pain. You call it unfair. But the truth is, what feels like destruction is just redesign. It's your story rearranging itself into something that makes sense later. Alignment doesn't always feel gentle. Sometimes it rips. Sometimes it tears. Because the parts of you that don't belong in your next chapter have to be stripped away before you can turn the page. It's strange, isn't it? How endings always show up disguised as chaos. You think you're being punished, but maybe you're being redirected. That relationship that fell apart, that dream that didn't work, that opportunity that vanished, it wasn't rejection. It was a redirection. You were never meant to build forever out of temporary things. You were never meant to make a home in what was only meant to be a lesson. But you stayed too long, didn't you? You ignored the signs, the silence, the gut feeling. So life had to step in and pull it away before it ruined you. That's not cruelty, that's mercy. People always talk about wanting purpose, wanting clarity, wanting peace, but they forget that to get there, things have to end, the storm has to come, the comfort has to die. You can't grow in a room that no longer fits you. You can't hear the next call if you're still busy mourning the last one. Endings are how life resets your focus. They break the illusion that you were ever in control. They remind you that not everything is supposed to stay. Not everyone is supposed to finish the journey with you. Some things are just meant to wake you up. You see, alignment doesn't ask for your permission, it demands your surrender. It's not a polite knock on the door. It's a demolition. It takes what doesn't serve you, even when you're not ready to let it go. Because deep down, life knows better than you do. You think you're losing your way, but really, you're being rerouted. You think you're falling apart, but you're just shedding. And it's painful, because you've tied your identity to what was never meant to stay. But endings aren't cruel, they're corrective. They're how the universe fixes what you refuse to see. There's a certain beauty in watching everything collapse. The moment you stop fighting it, you start to see the pattern. The way things fall into place once you stop forcing them. The peace that comes when you realize you don't have to chase what's already yours. Alignment feels like loss only because you're still attached to the version of you that can't see beyond the pain. But when you step back, when you breathe, you'll notice how what left your life actually made room for what's real. The people who walked away cleared the path for the ones who were meant to stay. The doors that closed forced you to knock on the right ones. The silence that scared you taught you how to listen. It's almost poetic, the way endings reveal beginnings. You think something's over, but really, something else is starting in the ashes. The fire wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to purify you, to burn off everything false until all that's left is truth. That's what alignment really is, truth taking shape. The truth of who you are, what you need, where you're meant to go. It's not neat, it's not peaceful, but it's real. And once you understand that, you stop begging for things to stay. You start trusting what leaves. You start thanking what ends. So don't curse the endings. Don't drown in what's gone, because every ending, no matter how painful, is a message written in divine timing. You might not read it today, but someday you'll understand why it had to happen exactly the way it did. You'll realize it wasn't punishment, it was alignment. Life wasn't taking something from you, it was making space for the version of you that was finally ready to rise. You ever notice how everyone waits for the right moment to begin? They wait for a sign, for approval, for the perfect time that never actually comes. They tell themselves, one day, like time owes them something. But the truth is, there's no grand opening for purpose, no spotlight waiting to shine on you. It doesn't start when the world notices, it starts when you decide to move, when you realize that what you've been waiting for is already inside you. That's the thing most people never figure out. Winning doesn't begin when everyone's watching. It starts in silence, when no one believes, when no one claps, when no one sees the fight you're in. You keep thinking the moment will come when everything feels right, but it won't. It never does. The ground's never steady, the timing's never perfect, and the world's never ready. You start anyway, because the real win isn't about applause, it's about endurance. It's about those mornings you drag yourself up when you don't want to, those nights you choose to keep going when every part of you wants to quit. Winning isn't a moment, it's a mindset. It's not something you wait for, it's something you declare long before it's visible. And that's what most people don't understand. You win in the dark long before you're crowned in the light. You see, Monday isn't just a day, it's the test. It's when all the promises you made to yourself meet reality. Everyone's motivated on Sunday night, full of energy and plans. But when the alarm hits and the world gets loud, that's when the truth shows. That's when you find out if your faith was real or just fantasy. Because the real battles aren't loud, they're quiet. They happen in your head, in your habits, in the way you talk to yourself when no one's around. And if you can win there, if you can conquer that private chaos, then the rest of the world doesn't stand a chance. Funny thing about people, they think victory looks glamorous. They see the success, the recognition, the celebration, and they call that winning. But they don't see the part before the rejection, the doubt, the waiting, the loneliness, the nights you question if it's even worth it, the mornings you fight your reflection just to keep believing. That's where the real war happens. And if you can't survive that part, you'll never make it to the part everyone applauds. Because winning doesn't come to those who are lucky. It comes to those who are consistent enough to keep walking, even when the finish line disappears in the fog. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you recognition for your effort. You owe yourself the discipline to keep going regardless. That's the real victory, self-control, when everything inside you wants to stop. It's easy to show up when things are good. It's easy to be positive when the path is clear. But when the road gets rough, when no one's watching, when it feels like nothing's moving, that's where champions are made. In the silence, in the grind, in the refusal to give up on something no one else can see but you. And that's what people miss about winning. It's not a moment. It's a decision you make every single day. You decide to get back up. You decide to show up again. You decide not to let failure define you. That's the difference between those who talk and those who transform. Because at the end of it all, the spotlight doesn't create the winner, it just exposes what's already been built in the dark. The habits, the resilience, the pain, it all adds up. Every time you said no to giving up. Every time you chose to move forward when you didn't feel ready. Every time you believed in something no one else did, that's winning. You think Monday's just another day. But Monday is the battlefield. It's the day that separates intention from action. It's when all the motivation, all the words, all the dreams get tested by reality. It's where you prove to life that you mean what you say. You either show up or you fall back into comfort. You either rise or you repeat. That's the truth. People avoid winning isn't waiting for miracles. It's building momentum when everything tells you to stop. The spirit wins first. Then the body follows. Then the world takes notice. That's how victory works. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock politely. It erupts from the ones who refuse to quit when no one was watching. It's born from the silence, shaped by pain, sharpened by discipline. So when the world finally sees you standing in the light, they'll call it sudden. They'll say it came out of nowhere. But you'll know it didn't start there. It started the day you looked at yourself in the mirror and decided that no matter what happens, you won't stop until the victory inside you becomes visible on the outside.